Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Bottom at Christmas Challenge with Brighton. In today's episode we are going to face Everton in the FA Cup and Bournemouth in the league, who are doing supremely well, so it's going to be a very, very difficult challenge. We'll also wrap up the January transfer window and see if there's any other business that could be done. So in the last episode we did of course get beat by Everton in the league, so we're hoping for a little bit of revenge in today's episode, and we drew against Manchester City 3-3 in the semi-final second leg of the League Cup. So unfortunately no cup final for us this season unless we get there in the FA Cup. So in today's game we are going to face Everton just now. We are at that game right now, and then we'll play Bournemouth in the league after that. But unfortunately Bournemouth are a very, very good side this season. They're currently sitting 6th position on 44 points after 23 games. Callum Wilson is currently the top scorer in the Premier League, so it's going to be a really difficult challenge to be able to beat them away from home as well in the Prem. But we do need to start picking up points. We obviously had a fantastic start, picking up 7 points in our first 3 games in charge of Brighton, but ever since then we've been beat off Wolves and Everton, so 2 defeats on the bounce. It will be rough to get 3. So in terms of today's game, unfortunately Jack Butland and Jack Grealish are both cup tied after coming in the January transfer window. So this is going to be the starting lineup. Button will start in goal, Montoya, Duffy, Dunk and Bernardo in the defence, with El Neni in defensive midfield, Pascal Gross and Bissouma in the centre of midfield, Anthony Knockaert on the right, Izquierdo on the left and Andonia leading the line. And Everton come at us with a 4-2-3-1 wide, Walcott, Bernard and Gomez leading. Who's Gomez? Maximiliano Gomez, of course he is. Absolutely fantastic striker they've signed from Celta Vigo. Everybody else looks pretty familiar in terms of the Everton lineup, so we'll G the boys up as best we can and we'll get into the match. So we are shooting from right to left in this first half. This game, it's snowing by the way, this game doesn't really matter that much to me, if I'm honest with you. I have started with a full strength side, but if we were to get knocked out of the FA Cup, that is not this series' objective, is to get into the domestic cups. It is purely to stay in the Premier League. Although winning this game and getting further in the cup competition will help us in terms of our league form, I think, purely due to the boost in morale that we would get by winning this game. As we come forward here with Andonia slipped through to Bissouma, and Jordan Pickford read his mind and went the right way. Bissouma should really, really be doing better with that sort of opportunity. So the first 25 minutes or so, I'm relatively happy with how the match stats are looking so far. We're keeping a lot of the ball. We have created more shooting opportunities than Everton have, if we've only seen one of them actually turn out to be anything proper. So it looks like we're going to go into half-time 0-0 unless something is to happen here. Andonia on the left-hand side after Knockaert's weird corner. Izquierdo with a shot, and what a strike that was, and what a finish. Pickford cannot keep that one out, and that is his 6th goal of the season. And to believe I've signed Jack Grealish to play in his position, kind of. Never mind, Andonia does well to keep the ball in play and keep the momentum going, really. And Izquierdo with an absolutely fantastic strike. No keeper is saving that. And we go in at half-time, 1-0 up. And there it is, half-time. We are absolutely dominating this match in a way that we haven't dominated any match so far this season. So I'm not going to make any changes. We're just going to kick off for the second half and hope for more of the same. Highlight now, it looks like it's going to be Everton on the attack with Sigurdsson, back to Bernard, Sigurdsson in the box. Can we break? Izquierdo with a big punt up, and Andonia is now over the top. Go on, Andonia, finish that. Oh my god, he should be putting that away, and it should be 2-0 in front. Andonia, that was a massive, massive opportunity, and part of me is tempted to get our young Swede on. I'm going to do it. That was just such a poor miss. He was clean through on goal. He ends up hitting the post. Victor is coming on, and hopefully he can do a little bit better up top. Highlight now, Pascal Gross with a free kick at his back post. Michael Keane plays it back in, and Knockaert should probably do a little bit better with his header. That was sort of a gifted chance, although it didn't really seem like a clear-cut one, so maybe the highlight isn't over. The highlight continues with Izquierdo charging down the left-hand side, and Knockaert is there. And Knockaert and Izquierdo are so good playing on them wings. They have combined, I don't know how many times already so far this season since we have took charge. And it's just absolutely fantastic. I have changed Izquierdo's role on that left-hand side to be a more supporting inside forward. He wasn't getting involved in the game enough as an attacker. And Knockaert, absolutely fantastic finish, 2-0. Another highlight with only 20 minutes to go, and it looks like Sigurdsson plays the ball forward, but Richarlison's there. The offside flag is nowhere to be seen, and Everton get themselves back into the game. That was just hugely sloppy by us. I hate to say that all the time on Football Manager, giving the ball away on a throw-in, but it's happened to us again, And a decent delivery by Sigurdsson is nodded home by Richarlison, and Bernardo, his rating has dropped because of that mistake. I was looking to make some changes, but with 15 minutes to go, there is another highlight. Duffy is on the ball, plays a back to Button, who just clears it. That's fine by me, but Sigurdsson nicks in the centre of midfield, and Walcott's free inside the box, and Richarlison's there again. And Everton have pulled it back to 2-2. Two errors by us, not being able to keep possession there. Throw in at first, Mohamed El Neni giving the ball away to Sigurdsson, not able to bring it down in the centre of the park. And Theo Walcott punishes us there with Richarlison getting his second goal of the game. So after that, we are going to make some changes. Bernardo is struggling out there. We'll get our new signing, Alex Martinez, on at left back for him. And I think we'll save our final substitution just in case any injuries happen. But there's a highlight straight from kickoff, and I think Everton are going to go down the other end and score again. Walcott again. Torsen goes close at the near post. We are going to play on the counter mentality now. I think Everton have finally woken up after that dreadful first half by them. And we're a little bit on the back foot now as Everton come forward once again. Walcott's played in behind Alex Martinez. Can I get the bar? And Torsen nods home at the back post to make it 3-2 to Everton. That is such a bad turnaround. 2-0 up with, was it 20 minutes to go? And we look like we were going through to the next round. But now I find it highly unlikely us bouncing back from this excellent cross by Walcott. He's causing us all sorts of problems down that left-hand side. And that's probably my fault. I should have had him man-marked by our left-backs. But never mind. We're down 3-2. We've went attacking. We'll make one final substitution. Who's not playing particularly well? None of our defenders are. We'll get Dale Stevens on in the centre. We'll switch him with Pascal Gross. So he's playing in the more attacking role. And we'll see if we can do it. We'll go very attacking for the final 5 minutes. We'll demand more from the boys. And despite looking at the match stats, you would think we deserve the win from this match. To be honest, we've sort of fell asleep in the final 25 minutes or so. And this will be the final highlight of the game, and there it is, full time. Everton 3, Brighton 2. We knock out of the FA Cup. I'm not happy with the boys after that performance, but they haven't responded well, so morale's not going to be great going into the next game against Bournemouth. But that's just so disappointing. I mean, when did they score? 70 minutes, 76, 79. Just one after the other. They put the ball in the back of the net after going 2-0 down. So we have rested our boys, looking forward to the Bournemouth game in 3 days' time. There is some business I would love to sign a centre-half, but at £6 million currently in the bank, that seems a bit unlikely to happen. Although, Solly March, he is transfer listed by request, he is wanted, so if we were to get 20 million for him, we might be able to then strengthen our centre-back in the squad, strengthen the centre-back area. I'm thinking probably Pontus Jansson. We've been scouting in terms of the who we'll possibly sign, and I think he is the best of the bunch, really. It would cost us about 14-15 million pounds, which we obviously haven't got right now, but if you're comparing to Shane Duffy, I think, although it doesn't look as bad through the attributes, I think just purely down to the physical, he's much better attacking-wise and technically. Obviously, defensive mentally and aerially, there is a little bit of a downgrade, but I think Pontus Jansson overall is a much better centre-half. And purely for a lot of other reasons as well. You know, he's got a perfectionist personality, which would be great to have within the squad. His goalkeeping rating's 3, so you never know. Might have to chuck him in goal. And his height at 6'5", I think will suit us well. But unless somebody gets sold, it's not a signing I'll be willing to make. So I have been offering Solly March out to other clubs in the hopes of maybe being able to spur some interest, but unfortunately at £20 million there hasn't been any biters, and I'm a little bit reluctant to go any less than that for an English good player with a little bit of potential as well. And he's not someone I really want to sell in particular. I think it'd be a good option off the bench, but I think if we did sell him and was able to prove that back line, I think that would be more beneficial to the squad going forward. But unless somebody's going to come in at around the £20 million mark, I'm just not going to bother. But that does bring us to today's game against Bournemouth. And I think this is how we are going to set up. We'll go through it together. Jack Butland will return back in goal after being cup-tied. Montoya at right back. Duncan Duffy in the centre with Bernardo at left back. Mohamed El Neni in the defensive midfield position. Pascal Gross and Jack Grealish. How's Davy Proper doing? He's not back from injury yet, so I'm happy with that. Jack Grealish is the ultimate utility player. Anthony Nokia on the right. Is Cuedo on the left. And I'm going to start Victor up. No, I'm not. He's requires a fitness test. So we'll start with Andonia with the view to bringing the young Swede on if Andonia is not doing the business. And here we go, 4-4-1-1 for Bournemouth. Begovic, Smith, Francis, Ake, Daniels, Jordan Ibe, Sermon, Heinemann, Fraser, Joshua King, and Callum Wilson, who's apparently the best player in the game. He's very, very good, actually. Top scorer in the Premier League this season. So we'll G the boys up, and hopefully we might be able to nick a point. I think's the best bet for us is getting a point. I don't see us beating Bournemouth in the current form that they're in, sitting 6th in the table, and I'm going to go straight on the cautious mentality. With us being away from home, and with Bournemouth doing so well, and they've sort of set up quite defensively themselves, so I don't want to be going on the front foot too much in case they're countering at the same time. So Bernardo gets the ball in, it's cleared by Bournemouth, and Joshua King can come away with it back to Sermon. If we can nick it in this position, they are not pushed very high. You can see they're sitting incredibly deep. The midfield and defensive line are both quite congealed, but they've done well to work the ball up to the halfway line with Joshua King. We're trying to set away Callum Wilson over the top, but Montoya can win us right back. And Jack Grealish, come on mate, I've signed you for £17 million. Do something for me. I know you've only had a couple of games because of the cup competitions, but his Quado goes just over. But yeah, I am hoping for something from Jack Grealish in particular and going forward, and hopefully Jack Butland can save us a few points in the defensive areas. We'll pick up with the highlight here. Begovic clears for Bournemouth. El Neni manages to win it in the centre of the park, and his Quado can come forward with it after cutting inside. Another long strike. I thought that one was in. He's had 2 now. Hopefully he'll put one of these in the back of the net. Another highlight now is Quado again. A lot of our play seems to be coming through him ever since we changed him to a supporting inside forward. Good challenge by them though, and Gross can pick it up. Back to Quado. Knockout, overlap by Montoya. Doesn't find him, but Quado's back on it to Bernardo on this left hand side. Get the ball in the box. Quado turns. Andonia. Andonia. If only your finishing was any better, we might find ourselves in a much better position. Highlight now, this time it looks like Bournemouth, oh no, maybe not, Quado wins it. Andonia is not going to beat Francis to that. Ake clears only as far as El Neni, and we have really taken this game to Bournemouth. Jack Grealish is challenged and knockout. What a strike that would have been. Excellent save by Begovic. We'll stick with this corner though, just in case. Pascal Gross plays it in, Dunk gets a head on it, and Begovic claims. 10 minutes to go in this first half. I would really like just to go in 1-0 up. Quado struggling out there quite a bit. We might have to bring him off a solid march at half-time. And there we are. We do go in half-time at 0-0. We'll G the boys back up. I think I will make that change and get Quado off a solid march. He can do the inside forward role quite well. He prefers a winger. I think we'll play a winger. We'll see how we do with the winger and Trequartista as our 2 wingers. I did say I would be happy with a point, but how the highlights have gone in particular, I would really like us to get a goal here. And just as I said, that Bournemouth come forward for their first highlight. Jordan Ibe on the edge of the box to Andrew Sermon. Joshua King's on the edge. Is he going to shoot? Back to Jordan Ibe. He's in the box. He goes just over the bar. The stats are definitely evening out in this second half, and Jack Grealish is struggling out there, so we'll get Dale Stevens on in his place and change him to a box-to-box midfielder to hopefully solidify the midfield a little bit more. With Bournemouth sitting so deep, I don't really want us to push forward too much. I think a point would be absolutely phenomenal for us to get here. Obviously, our home games are where we're going to look for the wins. Away games, if we can get a point against any of them, it's absolutely fantastic. And just as I jinx us, Bournemouth come forward with Sermon. Joshua King on the edge of the box. He takes a strike. Good save by Butland. Highlight continues with the corner. Pascal Gross manages to clear only as far as Dan Gosling. Ake with a big punt up. Lerma's there. Joshua King on the edge. Callum Wilson. Oh, it's a free kick. Oh, I thought it was a penalty. I thought Bournemouth had won a penalty really late on. We'll make a final substitution. Pascal Gross is struggling out there. We are just going to bring on Boulogne just purely to keep Pascal Gross fit. He is kind of key to how we play. And with 30 seconds remain, there's one final highlight. Whether that's going to lead to anything or not, who knows? Jack Butland, don't lose it. And I think that is going to be all she wrote for today's game. Bernardo on the ball quite deep in our own. Just boot it out. Don't do anything stupid. I can feel it. I can just feel it. Just kick it, for God's sake. Ref, we're a good 30 seconds over here. There we go. The referee finally blows the whistle and it finishes Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Against a team in the top 6, I am very, very happy with that performance. Getting a point away from home against Bournemouth is very, very good. So we'll take a look at the league after that. Doesn't really improve our league position all that well. We are still 4 points clear. 4 points away from West Ham, currently in 17th position. we'll just need to take one team at a time. So we're 2 points away from Cardiff in 18th. That's where we are going to look next. And in terms of the next episode, it will be Liverpool and Huddersfield who will play. I am going to continue on until the end of the January transfer window in the hopes that maybe somebody might come in for Solly March. You never know. I'm going to offer him out again for £20 million and we'll see if there's any biters. But if there's not, we're probably going to just have to say they're for 9.5 and stuff. I'm not interested at that price. We'll just have to deal with the centre-halves that we've currently got. It's not ideal situation, Shane Duffy and Lewis Dunk. Lewis Dunk's a good, decent Premier League centre-half. I don't think Shane Duffy's good enough purely because of his physicals, although he has been performing well for us. And I think that's just down to how we've set up the defence. It's not how something I would usually do with a no-nonsense stopper, but it seems to work for Shane Duffy. So we'll just keep things as they are and hope that it sees us through the rest of the season. And there we are. There is no late drama in this January transfer window. Nobody came in for any of our other players, and I wasn't really interested in selling too many others either. So that wraps up the January transfer window. We'll quickly check and remind people of what we have done during this January transfer window. So we brought in Jack Grealish for £17 million from Aston Villa. We brought in Jack Butland for £25 million. We brought in Alex Martinez, who's a backup left back from Granada, for £1.5 million. And we also brought in Mohamed El Neni from Arsenal on loan for the rest of the season. So let me know in the comments down below how you think we have done in our terms of our January transfer business. I think El Neni, Butland and Grealish are definitely upgrades on what we had before. We obviously sold Jurgen Locadia for £25 million to Newcastle. I'm not sure how he's doing there, but I think that's a ridiculous price for someone of his ability. So I was happy to get that done. Gaten Bong was the reason why we signed Alex Martinez, as we sold him to Southampton for £5 million. Both of them players wanted to leave the club as well, so it wasn't like I was forcing them out or anything. So as I mentioned earlier, the next episode will be Liverpool and Huddersfield, 2 home games. Obviously at home to Liverpool, which you're not expecting us to get any points there, but away at Huddersfield, they are currently bottom of the league. We really need to at least pick up a point, if not 3 there. So if you have enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you are enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.